So today I'm actually really excited to do this video because I'm going to be providing my perspective on Harry Potter and the Harry Potter series as a piece of literature, as a piece of children's literature, and as a book in general. So I'm really actually excited to do this because I hadn't read Harry Potter before. I grew up in a very conservative Christian family, and my parents didn't want us to have any interaction with witchcraft or anything to do with magic like that, and understandably why. I understand why they didn't want us to read it, why they didn't want us to be able to watch the movies or have any interaction at all. So I never grew up reading it. I never grew up really knowing anything about the story except for we didn't watch it and it wasn't good and it wasn't healthy for us to see. So understandably, I understand that through their perspective of parents and not wanting their kids being sucked into something that wasn't healthy for them. So I totally understand that. But as I grew up, you start to learn things about the story because it is such a cultural icon for us that you kind of know the name Voldemort or Harry Potter. You don't really know the details of it, and I never really knew anything about the story. So when I went into college, I took a children's literature class, and the two last books that we read were Harry Potter and the Hunger Games. My teacher gave me the Harry Potter book and said, read it and tell me what your perspective is, because actually I'm interested in having a perspective of someone who's never grown up with Harry Potter, and you tell me whether you think it's good. Is it a good piece of work overall in her character development and her plot? And just give me your honest opinion on it. So I read the book, and it's nothing like I expected it would be, or I grew up understanding that it was. It's completely different, and it's so good. I was so surprised, and the story was so well done that I had to continue reading it. Like, I couldn't put it down because I wanted to know what happened next. And so I've actually, after that class, I've almost finished all the Harry Potter series. I think I only have like a couple chapters left in the Deathly Hallows, which is the ending book out of the series. So today I'm going to share with you why I think it's a great piece of literature. Number one, that's what I wanted to discuss with you, why I think it's actually good, a good reading. And it's just not, culturally hyped. It's actually really good. I'm going to talk about that. And number two, I'm going to talk about, I think, a lot of misconceptions that maybe Christian people have of the book, or a lot of misconceptions people have about the book because it does contain, quote-unquote witchcraft. I'm going to kind of talk about those two things, and so let's get started. I think one of the things that makes this book really well, and in the series in general, every book of the Harry Potter series, is the outline. There is a formula outline for this series. Every time you open a book, you're going to expect a few things to happen. There's always holidays that happen in this. So, the Christmas, Halloween, finals in school, like all the characters experience those holidays. So you go through the seasons every single time you read these books. So there is a solid outline, like you come in kind of knowing what to expect. Harry is going to go off to school, and then there's going to be Halloween, and there's going to be some adventures in between that, and there's going to be Christmas, and then there's going to be exams. And you begin to expect certain things to happen, but they don't happen the way you expect it. And that's one of the other aspects of this book that I think is actually really good, is that the magic in it is so creative. It's so out of the box. And you're thinking, what is out of the box? Sometimes I wish I can be in J.K. Rowling's head and see oh my goodness, she's writing a point where, her characters are coming up to a challenging circumstance, and then she adds a mix of creativity that totally put a spin on the situation that you never expect. And I think especially in the first book, The Sorcerer's Stone, there was one part that I vividly remember reading where I was like, I don't know how the characters are going to continue on this. They were missing a key to open a door, and they couldn't go back to find the key. Like, they were stuck in a certain particular situation where they couldn't go back, they had to go forward, and they were missing the key to open the door. And I'm thinking, what's gonna happen? Like I'm thinking as a writer, what is she going to do? As these characters are looking up, because they hear a sound above them, they see keys flying around in the sky with wings on them. And you're thinking, like, as a person who reads many, fantasy literature, this is something like I've never encountered before, or have never. Flying keys, like, how did she come up with that idea? But she makes it so magical and kind of, strangely believable in this world that there can be such things as flying keys in the magical world. Get on a broom and they grab a key, the right key, and they're able to open up the door. But it was just like, it was so creative and interesting, and I think that's what makes really the book so intriguing, is that it keeps you, kind of, interested in what's in the next book. What does J.K. Rowling have in store for, Harry Potter in this, magical world? So that's something I really enjoyed having a part of her literature that she's writing. There's also many goals within this book, so you're always working towards something, which I think I really appreciate with her story, is that it's not only goals and pursuing, the end all, the major goal of, overthrowing the villain, which is Voldemort in the book. So the goal is to destroy him. So in every book, the goal is to learn more about him, to defeat him, and so that's like the main overall, I would say, arcing goal of the whole series. But you also have goals in, like, relationships, like Harry, Ron, and Hermione, which are his friends. They go through character building within these stories. So there's goals within these characters' relationships that she hits on so superbly, and I just enjoyed, you're always looking forward to the next step. Not only does it have a magical twist that keeps you intrigued, you're also working towards something, personally with these characters, and also overall arcing outline. You are always working towards the greater good, or the Harry Potter fans will know what the greater good is, but the greater good in the story. So I really like that she has goals set within the story of each of these books. Her characters are really well fleshed out. There's so much depth to them that even her secondary characters that you don't really follow too much, they come in and out, you grow to love them just as much as the main characters, and you care about them. And their stories and their background, history is so interesting. Like, I can't tell you how much interesting things she adds in this book that each character holds or has, that you're like, oh, I love them because, he's part werewolf, and he struggles with, the scars of his past regarding, being a half werewolf, or, being transformed during the full moon. Or she's an animagus, which is someone who can turn into an animal at will. That's so cool and interesting. Like, she adds so much little quirks to characters that really set them apart in your mind, that you really visually see within your imagination and connect with, because they're so intriguing and they're so interesting. And I really love that about her characters, that she has added all those little details into them. And that's why I think it also makes people love her story so much and love her character so much, is because she put so much time into that and thought into them. So let's go on to the most common misconceptions about this book. So yes, it has the word witchcraft in it, so it kind of throws you off with that word. It does have spells, cauldrons and wands, and you're thinking, does she have, satanic chants in there? Did these characters, do blood magic, or like evil magic. Okay, let's throw that. She definitely segregates out that there's good magic and there's bad magic. And what the purpose of magic within this world is almost like a superpower. Magic is almost used as a tool. Most magic, common magic that is used in the book, is like characters are like cooking and they're able to like make the dishes clean themselves or set themselves, you know, down on the table for dinner. It's like fun ones like if the journalist is magical, her wand will scribble down her thoughts of what she's thinking while she's interviewing someone. Like magic is really used as a tool within this book. It's used almost kind of like a superpower. Like I'm gonna use it to you know, summon a cup to me over there, kind of like the Force, you know, from Star Wars. It's definitely used as a tool. And J.K. Rowling makes it like there is bad magic. And the kids are not supposed to learn bad magic. And the dark arts are not taught, not even supposed to be taught at all. And she tells that there's 3 unforgivable curses. And these curses within the book are curses that if you hurt someone, the Cruciatus curse is the curse that tortures someone. That is something that is unforgivable and nasty and disgusting, and no one should ever use it. Then there's a Avada Kedavra curse, which that is the killing curse. People like should never use it. Like it's really laid down that like kids should not learn this at all, especially in the magical world. It's really a very, very bad thing. She really makes it clear that magic can be good and used as a healthy way, and then magic can be used as a bad way, and those are things that you need to stay away from that are unhealthy and not right within this world. And in fact, dark magic within the books is thought as very grotesque, evil, horrid. Like absolutely horrid. Magic is supposed to use to help, heal, they have healing powers, benefit people and their lives, you know, making, you know, dishes easier by summoning them to clean themselves. Like that's how magic is supposed to be used. And I think it's like very kind of similar in a sense to like Star Wars. You have the dark side and, you know, the light side. And most of the time, you know, the Force is used for goodness, but there are ones that have used it for bad. And that's definitely, she makes a distinction within the book of those differences. I think that many people have a problem with spells. Like what kind of spells is she using? Did she, you know, open up some real magic books and use the spells? No, I've done my research. She created her own spells. She created basically her own language. And most of her spells are based in Latin. The spells sound Latin or have a little bit of mix of different origins, and they don't sound evil at all. And I'm gonna give you a couple examples of ones. I think one of my favorite spells is Lumos. Lumos is when you have your wand, you say Lumos and it provides a light for you if you're in a dark space or area, like a flashlight. Lumos is based on a Latin word, lumen, which means light. So she just kind of altered the Latin word lumos to mean light, but that practically means light. It's nothing, you know, evil or satanic about it. Decided to use one of the 3 unforgivable curses in their meaning. So Crucio, which is considered, or Cruciatus, Crucio is short for that. You think that maybe since it is a bad spell considered in that world, that it is, you know, something that's evil, but Crucio in Latin means to torture. I just think of, you know, excruciating pain, Crucio, you know, so like that's how I remember it. That's why the spells are so rememberable, because they come from Latin and the words that we use, you know, even today. So I didn't feel anything evil within the spells or, you know, even reading them within the story. So my overall opinion of the book is that it's not that bad. It's not. It's actually fun, quirky, interesting. It's a really good book, and you grow up with the characters as you're reading them. And I think that's, you know, it's something that, you know, you rarely experience within literature, is actually growing up with characters. and seeing their age difference. And you know, the books start out very light-hearted and then grow to you know, be a little bit darker in the sense of some of the themes of, you know, characters die because there's going to be a major war. And the books, you know, actually, if I had to narrow down the books to an overall theme, is love versus selfishness and hatred and evil. Like, I don't know what else, just think of, you know, evilness, you know, selfishness, greed. Like, it's actually, those are the two major themes within the book. And you're probably thinking, Sharayah, how is that, you know, possible if you're someone who's never read it? But many of the characters that are within the story, they're protected by their friendship, they're protected by the love of each other. Harry has a protection over him because his mother loves him so much, and Voldemort, who's the villain, and his followers are greedy and selfish, and they don't care about each other. Like, they don't care. They're out for their own selfishness and their own empire. And so the themes woven within the story, is very about like good, love, friendship, you know, family, being there for people, protecting the, you know, the ones you love, and not using them. And then, you know, the Dark Lord side that is about establishing an empire and a eliteness and supreme dominion for his glory, for his wants and desires. But if I had to do, like, that's the two major themes in the book that are flowing within it, and it's so well done, and how she wrote it, that's why I think people have a love for Harry Potter and love talking about Harry Potter and love the series. I have grown to love the series reading her work. If you're a Christian and you're not sure about it, I say do your research. If you're a parent and you're interested in your kids possibly reading this story, do your research. I think that if your kid can be too obsessive, I think obsession in any way is unhealthy. And so if they decide to obsess over Harry Potter and magic and you don't think it will be healthy, then don't have them read it. I couldn't find like such evilness within it that I would say I'm going to keep my kids away from this forever. I didn't see the evilness that people proclaimed in it or thought about it. So I think it's definitely something that should be researched and thought about. Is this good for me? Is this good for my kids? If it's not, then yeah, don't read it. It's not for you. But if you think, you know, actually it's something that I'm really into or my kids would really love, definitely a good piece of literature, a good story, have them read it and start that series with them. Thanks for hearing my opinion and spending a little time with me and insight in what I thought about that piece of work. Please like and subscribe to our channel. And yes, if you're considering, this is a Gryffindor scarf. There's 4 houses within Harry Potter, and I took the Pottermore test and I came out as Gryffindor, and that's why I'm wearing this scarf today in this video. So I hope you have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are, and I hope to see you soon. And thanks for watching.